Damas y caballeros, welcome back to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Freeform Network. But for one of your hosts, my name is Daniel. My other host today is
Rockin' Andy Ready. Yeah, now to start off to the new year, guys.
All right, man. Yeah, man. By the way, I wasn't able to be on the last podcast, but Andy, I am an elliptical guy. I know you guys were kind of discussing that. That is my choice of preference as workout equipment.
Yeah, me and Noel are we're not obviously. You look at us, we're not going to be fitness, but we've gone through many trials and tribulations with getting healthy, with weight loss, and so I mean, take it with the. We have our input, what worked for us, and we're trying to regain some of that, what we lost, and trying to get back on that bandwagon. And that's what worked for us. I mean, from my point of view, that's what I've talked about. That's what worked for me, and I'm trying to do that again with the new year.
Right. Trying to relive that old glory, Andy.
That's yeah, exactly, man. Because one thing is you get older, is just you want to live longer as much as you can, but when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. But you still want to enjoy life, That's one of my more recent in the last couple of years is I want to enjoy life. You got to be more healthy, and being healthy, I think, has options for you. It doesn't limit yourself to I can't do this because of my weight, or I can't do this because I have this. It's just if you're sound, you could do just about anything.
Right. No, it is good, and this is the time of the year, the start of the new year, is the time to really make those changes. Or a lot of people do those changes, but like you mentioned, it's a way of life that you and maybe Noel lived in the past, and maybe it's something that you want to try to implement more nowadays, just to live a healthier life. Because I know, like, one of your talking points were that when you were younger, it was easier. You just jump onto the treadmill, get your little burn on, and it was cool. And now you have to work a little harder at it because, we're getting up there on age, and it's just a little bit tougher. But we'll do what we can, man, to keep it rocking and keep it going.
Yeah, one of the things, everybody, it's a new year, so everybody has New Year's resolution. I know Noel mentioned something about like have a daily resolution or something like to that effect, but to me, for when I was at my peak or with my weight loss, was the intensity. To me, intensity is the most important thing, and other trainers have come to that. And like you gotta get that blood flowing, you gotta get that heart rate going, and to me that's always helped. And I always felt with the treadmill, with the cardio, I got that. The elliptical, yeah, it's easier on the joints. I've read all that, but it just to me doesn't have that much of an impact.
All right. Well, speaking of New Year's and New Year's resolutions, how was your New Year's, man? You enjoy yourself, man? Did the year go by as quick as it started?
I mean, usually, I don't want to sound like a bunch of old men. I can still party.
Right.
So this year, yeah, we just go with the in-laws. They enjoy a cocktail. They being we're of Mexican descent. We love our tequila, and the tequila was flowing New Year's Eve. And this year, I learned from last year. I didn't start as early, so I actually made it to New Year's and past New Year's. So I took it easy on the tequila as much as I could, and I drank beer and tequila. I'm not big on like whiskeys and all that other stuff or vodka, but I'll have it once in a while. But the whiskey was the tequila was pretty solid. Usually I haven't bought a bottle of tequila. Usually it's gifted to me. So the holidays is usually when I whip up all those bottles and get it out. I was gonna take that bottle of whiskey you gave me, Danny, but these guys they wouldn't touch it. So I'm like, I just left that at the house. I'll save that for another day.
Right. No, man. Sounds like a good party, man, especially if your in-laws get down with a little drinking.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
enjoy their cocktails. Believe me.
yeah, I got you that whiskey because I
Jack
know you're
Daniels.
or the Jack Daniels because I figured some Jack and Coke, reminiscent of Frank Sinatra. I know you're a big fan of Sinatra,
Absolutely.
so I thought you can go down with that.
And yeah. I mean, for a while I was drinking a lot of Jack and Coke. But I feel whiskey is I don't know. It's smoother. It's not as strong. I think tequila is just uh, man. I don't know how you handle it. It could get me blackout drunk if I overdo it. It could really f me up. It could fuck me up.
Right. To me, I like a good tequila sunrise, stuff drinks like that. But I gotta admit, it does kind of give me a pretty bad hangover, especially if it's if you're drinking some skunk tequila, it could really mess you up. Like to me, people say Hornitos are good,
Hmm.
but man, that really messes me up the next day. I got a big headache. But kind of back to what you and Noel were saying last time, it's the same way. You kind of get into these workouts and it really takes you time to recuperate. And it's the same thing for drinking. For me, is that if I drink heavily and I don't drink a lot of water, I notice that I wake up the next day with a really mean hangover or a really big headache that I can't even do anything the next day.
Yeah, man. It just when you're younger, there's a lot of things you could do. You recover quickly. It's just man, we're sounding like a bunch of old dudes, but
Right,
it
right.
kicks your ass, man, when you're older.
I feel bad, man, because I shouldn't feel like this. I should still be rocking all night, but it is tough, man. Just like you said, last year you didn't make it to New Year's because, you started partying a little early. And typically me and Alana, we don't make it either, man. I think it was like the last two New Year's, we fell asleep before New Year's. This one that just passed, we did stay up just because Junior was really excited. He wasn't really aware of the New York the time ball, the Times Square
The
dropping
ball
it up.
drop, yeah.
Right, right. He wasn't really aware of it because he had never seen it. He's usually goes to bed around 9 or 10 and gets up kind of early. So he's always had that time clock and never really been like, let me stay up until 1 in the morning kind of thing. So he's never experienced that. So even though myself, I'm kind of an early bird as well, we stayed up and we actually did it this year. We didn't fall asleep and we were able to see the ball drop. And Junior was really excited, kind of count down. So yeah, I'm with you, man. We try to do our
Was
best to
he
celebrate it, but we're getting up there, and it's tough sometimes.
was he like why is the ball? I know this year it was cold, right? We watched a little bit of the New Year's TV celebrations. Was he like, where are all these people? What the hell's going on? Like, why is the ball dropping? Did he think something like an explosion was gonna happen or anything?
Yeah. When I first told him about the ball dropping, he literally thought that somebody was going to drop a ball from the top of the building down to the ground floor, and it was going to shatter and explode. I'm like, no, buddy, it's not exactly like that. So I kind of explained it to him, and when he saw it, he was excited. He was excited for the countdown. He was excited to see some of the music, not all of it, because I did notice on Channel 5 they had some kind of old timey, which I enjoyed. The Rat Pack music, but he wasn't really digging
That
it.
was on local ABC or whatever. The G and Greco, right? That's what you're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about.
Channel
Yeah,
7. I'm sorry.
local. It's locally here in Chicago, Channel 7 or ABC affiliate.
Right. And then Fox 32, they had the guy from Family Feud. What was that guy's name?
Oh, Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey. They had him interviewing it, and it was outside and it was raining, so you could kind of tell it was kind of like, hey, let's make the best out of this thing, but still it's a disaster. So we just kept flipping back and forth, and we couldn't really settle on anything that Junior would like, like some younger, Justin Bieber kind of shit that he's into. it was mostly old timies and watching Greco try to, kiss the new girl of the year.
No, he's been kissing that lady. I can't think of her name, but I know who she is. Man, he's been tonguing that girl for like I think a decade, man. Since when he
Right.
used to be on NBC and he went to ABC, and I always like we kind of talked about it. Like I don't know if I feel comfortable. My wife be tonguing some local NBC or local sportscaster, but apparently they've been doing it, and their spouses are cool, and like they aren't just like kiss on the lips, man. They're going at it. I feel like they're going at it. That's how I perceive it anyway. I would not be comfortable with that. I don't care how long they've been working together.
Right, right. Yeah, it is kind of weird. Maybe back 5, 10 years ago, or whenever they started doing it, maybe it was kind of cute and funny. But nowadays, with all the sexual harassments and everything, it seems kind of creepy. That I don't know how much longer that stick is going to keep going before they find replacements.
Well, yeah, you know they've been working together forever. And I know they have another they have like another location where they have Cheryl Scott and this other guy,
Right, right.
and
Like a
they're trying
younger
to be
couple, right?
the hip young people. Yeah, but I don't see them like going with all this tongue action. It's like, yeah, we're working, baby. Like, nah, man. They're just like they're more younger, so
Just
they're
getting handies under the table.
yeah, they're just like, yo, we can't record this on camera yet, but it's on Snapchat or something. So, and Gian Greco's just like, hey, honey, come over here. It's cool. We're working. Like, nah, fuck that.
He's like, the guy's like, I'm a professional. Don't worry, I know how to
Yeah.
dance the lambada.
And he has your wife bent over and shit. Like, this is normal. Relax. Why are you getting
What
upset?
what TV show is that from, Andy?
That's from
Was that
it's
Sunny?
it's always sunny in Philadelphia,
Right,
where
right.
they're trying to win this contest at a bar, and who could dance the longest or some goofy shit, I think. And Dennis was dancing this fine woman up, and his husband's like, "What the hell's going on here?" It's like, "No, honey, it's for the contest. It's okay. He's showing me how to dance." It's like, "Yeah, I'm a teacher. Don't worry, buddy." And he has his wife. He's groping her and stuff and bent her over. He's like, "It's okay. I'm a professional. Relax. I'm just showing her how to dance."
Oh my god, that was hilarious. So what other escapades happened on the New Year's? Any good eats, man, or it was just drinking?
A lot of drinking, man. They had pozole, and then New
Oh, nice.
Year's. What did we do? New Year's Days, man. I didn't think I put my pants on till like 2 o'clock, dude. I was just in the couch sleeping it off,
Nice,
and I
man.
couldn't.
All this old man talk, it doesn't sound like it, man.
Oh, dude, the tequila. I spread it out throughout the night, but in the morning I fucking felt it, dude. I was just like, ah, man, what did I do? And then that's when you regret it. And I tried to get up quickly, and I was like, oh shit, I almost fucking fell down. So I'm just like, fuck this, man. Like I gotta go back to the couch. Now I'm not putting on my pants. I don't care.
So I know you don't got a far drive. So did Gracie do any drinking, or was it just you?
Oh no, she had she didn't drink anything. I mean, she might have had like a taste of tequila, but she wasn't drinking a lot. She didn't have beer or anything. So she was there. They brought out the karaoke machine,
Oh, all right.
so it wasn't
Busted
too
out
bad.
some Journey, Andy, or what?
I actually sang some Elvis.
Oh, all right.
It was pretty cool. The guy had a huge freaking speaker, and they just hooked it up to some YouTube thing, and everybody started singing.
Now, was that before the party started when you only had one drink in you, or was it towards the end when you already had finished the bottle?
Oh no! That was after like freaking 4 to 5 tequila shots. Yeah, that's when I started singing. I'm like, I can sing better than Elvis. Everybody listen.
All right, man. Sounds like it was a good time, man.
Always, man. It's the holiday, Christmas and New Year's is the best time to. That's the only time you're allowed to drink excessively, and it's fine. and you know, you spend it with family, and you have your beer or two or your liquor, and you call it a day. The more the merrier.
Right, right, man. Well, I know a lot of people are pouring drinks out for Mean Gene, man. It was kind of sad to hear of his passing a few days ago, man. How do you remember him, man? I know he was like his right hand man to Hulk Hogan, you know, during the 80s and 90s. How do you remember him?
You know, that it is sad, and that era of wrestling, he was basically the voice. Him and he did all the interviews, and like Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Body Ventura were the voices of calling the match, and like it was like a freaking, you know, he's the soundtrack of that era. I believe that's what Triple H called it, and the guy was funny. It's kind of sad, to be honest with you, because you know, me growing up, I used to watch, you know, I still watch wrestling. I watched it a lot. Me and my dad watched a lot of wrestling, and like every year you just see more and more names dying from that era, and it makes you think like, man, these guys are old, you know. And it sucks. Like they had a tribute to him on Raw, and like I think a big chunk of of the little montage they had, man, a lot of those people on that screen were dead, and it was kind of, to me, it was kind of, as I said, it's sad and kind of creepy, because I remember watching a lot of that on, like, when it came out on TV, and to see it now at my age, and you're like, yeah, that guy's dead, that guy's dead, that guy's dead. It's kind of, it's eerie. It's real eerie.
Right, right. Yeah, no, it's wrestling back in the 80s and 90s was a real fast life, man, and maybe it still is to a certain point, but nutrition wasn't that big of a deal, so people were drinking, doing drugs kind of, you know, loosely.
Well, that
And
was
were
Mean Gene's thing. He could drink. He was known for not beer, like he could drink liquor.
right, right. And the few times that I saw him in kind of casual settings, interviews, he seemed like a down to earth kind of guy. He didn't seem like he was stuck up. He looked like he could have a good time and kind of just chat your ear up if you were to sit next to him at a bar to get a drink, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it, man, he was, I mean, I got glimpse of it, AWA. He was in WWE, he was in WCW. He did, I mean, that's like what, since like the early 80s up to what, almost 99. You know, it's what, almost 20 plus years, man. It's that he came back to WWE doing you know, some stuff with the WWE, and just, you know, he did a lot of work. He was in wrestling for a long time, and he made an impact. He was part of my childhood. Um, just sucks, man. Another one died. Another one goes from that era, and like you remember people that came up and replaced them. They just don't make that impact that those guys, I feel, from the 80s.
Yeah, there's not too many like him. It I don't really remember Mean Gene being like a color commentator or anything like that. He was more just like the interviewer guy. And nowadays, I couldn't name who. And now, granted, I'm a casual wrestling viewer. I don't watch everything, but I can't name one interviewer other than the wife of Dean Ambrose for a while. You know, being like I recognize her, and she's the one that interviews wrestlers.
Oh,
But
Renee Young. I'm like,
right,
what is he talking about? Dean wife? Yeah, Renee Young.
yeah, Renee Young. But other than her, I can't name like somebody that just solely interviews people, and had an impact like Mean Gene. And like you said, he's a part of my childhood as well. I was a huge wrestling fan back in the 80s and 90s, and anytime you saw Mean Gene, you knew it was going to be a good promo. Um, the one time the sign falls behind the sign behind them fell, and then he kind of let loose kind of like a little swear word or like a he was kind of loose in his talk, and it was just funny, man. It was funny watching him. He was a character for sure, and I know Hogan came out on Monday to do a little tribute for him, which is other big news, for him to come back to the WWE, or at least in the States, because I know he came back for the what was it, Saudi Arabia show or something like that.
Jewel or whatever.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, once they did that tribute video and they were up, just watching all those old wrestlers, man, Roddy Piper, Mr. Perfect, man, watching Rick Rude and all of them, man. It was kind of sad to see that so many of the people that I grew up with, marching on, man, going to the next level.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just we grew up in like I think like in an age where we were in the beginning of like what pop culture started and compared to what it is now. Like the shit that we liked it's retro, it's old, but we were like the 80s, we were like right dab in the middle of those 80s when all this shit started kicking up, even to extent a little bit in the late 70s, I feel. But wrestling was just, I mean, especially WWE, I mean, they had a cartoon show, they had figures, they had awesome toys,
Pile driver
shirts, pile driver, albums. I mean, it was a multimedia fucking movies. And it is the passing of Meet Gene, and just, I mean, like you look back like, man, who's next? And I did a quick thing search, like Nikolai Volkov died. I mean, that's another guy this past like a couple I think like a month ago or earlier, I'm sorry, in the summer he passed away. And it just that was another guy who was a freaking Soviet, like a communist, and be boom with the Sheik. And it just sucks, man. Like you don't see them on TV, and then just like out of the blue they just pass away. And I think that's why you always feel like they're gonna be around, because they're gonna be showing up on TV. And it is what it is, I guess.
Right. No, our thoughts and prayers to the family. But somebody else that you might be seeing on TV, Andy, is your boy R. Kelly, man. What's he up to, man? I heard you're watching some documentary, or what is it?
Man, the streets were talking about R. Kelly's docuseries, The Surviving R. Kelly. And, I keep my ear to the street, and everybody was talking about it, how allegedly he did all this stuff to younger girls. And, of course, he's from Chicago. We're from Chicago. And we all know about the infamous sex tape where he was cleared from that because that wasn't him. And the court found,
it was digital piss.
It was digital piss, according to R. Kelly.
Or to Chappelle.
Yeah, I'm sorry, to Chappelle show, yeah. But, yeah, man, if you... I mean, I like R. Kelly's music, man. When it comes down to fucking, I mean, he's right. That's the music to fuck to, and next to, like, Jodeci and, like, some Key Sweat, man. I know, like, for when we grew up,
Or those Bookies.
Bookies is, yeah, but that's too slow, Jam. That's too slow, man. Marc Antonio Solis can't hold nothing, R. Kelly. Maybe.
All right.
But, yeah, man, it's just, like, it starts off from his beginnings in the city, and you come to find out allegedly he was touched as a kid. He was molested.
Allegedly, or did he come out and say that?
I'm just covering all the bases here for Freeform Radio. In the documentary, it states that he says that in his book or something, or an interview, that he was molested. He doesn't say who, but he says they're saying it's his family. So it never really says if it's a woman or a guy or who.
Where's this? I'm sorry. Where's the documentary from? Or
it's part of the Lifetime Network.
Okay.
So if you have cable and you have, it's on demand. But if you don't, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be. You can see clips of it on YouTube to promote it. You can stream it somewhere. I mean, it is everyone's talking about it. I don't want to go, detail by detail, but it does make me think that I kind of forgot about the sex tape, and I'm just like, oh man, like ignition and the fly song and all that, and you think like, man, this motherfucker can sing and he got good shit, and the series is just like it's out to get him, man. It's just like he has a thing for young girl. I mean, he was like they show him reportedly hanging out at high schools in Oak Park and all this, and then when he was like he was going to the mall to pick up chicks, and then they have his former manager there, and he's like, I didn't want to believe it, but he told me no. It was just like there's like all these fucking signs, man. Like, fuck, like yeah, dude, you're like what I saw. I feel if I was in court and they presented all this shit to me, of course, he's has come up with some videos saying that some of the women down there are lying, and you could kind of see a couple women. I feel like, man, they're just straight up there for the money and publicity. But yeah, everybody on the streets, you look at YouTube, there's a lot of reaction to it in the hip hop community and the urban communities. You can see a lot of reaction videos, and it's not a lot of people are supporting him. A lot of people are not. And I did see that his songs are like popular right now, like in iTunes and all the streaming sites that they're playing a lot.
Right. I live a few minutes from Oak Park, and I've never seen him there, so I don't know how.
Yeah, dude, that he was going to some
these allegations.
Oak Park over there, and they have like a Oak Park police. They're like, yeah, this motherfucker was over there. We're like, why does he keep hanging out here? And that's where the girl that from the tape allegedly is from that high school in Oak Park. They have her friend on the freaking documentary talking about how he was always there.
Maybe he was just picking somebody up, man.
Yeah, he was picking up little girls, man.
Oh, man, Andy. Allegedly. But yeah, R. Kelly, man, he's got some tight songs, man. And then I try to give him some extra love because he's from Chi-Town, but man, if this stuff comes out to be true, I think it's you don't get 3 strikes, man. I know you messed up with the other porno tape where you're pissing on a girl. I don't think he can overcome this. And I thought I read an article today that there's an investigation now, like an official investigation coming from all the stuff that came out from this docuseries that you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could do a whole freaking podcast on just breaking it down, but I'm not going to give you that. But definitely check out the series. I would want to see what you guys think, because I kind of, like I said, I forgot about the tape because, like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know about this shit. Like, I remember hearing about it. Like, nah, man, that can't be R. Kelly. Like, he's saying it's somebody else, but they show stuff like I've never seen the tape. I've seen pictures of it, of like the background and the documentary. I'm like, damn, that's the fucking pictures I saw on that's exactly what I saw in those pictures back in the day, and it's like, it's messed up. And I'm like, oh, that when I saw that, like, I just got this bad feeling like, yeah, this motherfucker is guilty, man. And then he got busted a couple more times. And then they have girls that he picked up. They're like from like 13 to like 17. And it's just fucked up, man.
No, yeah. Anytime you hear about kids being taken advantage like that, man, it's really sad. Especially when him being such a big star, you figure he'd be able to get any woman that he wants. It must be some kind of...
It's a power
I don't
thing.
know. It's got to be something, man. Something wrong inside of his head that he gets a thrill out of young age women, because he's R. Kelly, man. He could get anybody, man. he could get dudes and girls, man. That's how
Wait.
that. Well, I mean, if he's into that, I'm saying he could get anything that he wants, man. But for him to be fixated with younger women, there is something wrong with him. And if it does come out to be true, man, he's got to get some help and he's got to pay, man.
Now, when I was a kid, when I was younger, the I don't know if you remember him and the Aaliyah. Since you remember Aaliyah, that our singers, she passed away. There was always a rumor that they were together. Like he was like in his late 20s, she was like 14 or something.
Right.
And on the docu series, one of the backup dancers or the dancers says like, we were on the tour bus and they were playing tricks on each other, and that they opened this back door, the where R. Kelly's bed and all that, and they opened it up, and back there was R. Kelly having sex with her, and like everybody was like shocked. And then, but later it came out, the mom came out and said that that's total BS, because she never, when she was on tour, she was always with her, and she never was alone on the bus with anybody. They were on any bus that she was on. So I don't know if that dispels that rumor or that claim, but the parents came out and defended their daughter, who since has passed.
Wow, man. Wow, no, that's nuts.
That's
man.
what I'm saying. Like, if it ain't like nobody, if they didn't say anything, then it'd be like, okay. But if they're coming out and saying it, they're either, she's lying. The person who they interviewed is lying, but she looked pretty like serious, or the parents just, if they're so pissed off they came out and said something, maybe that one girl is lying.
Right. Yeah. I mean, maybe she was just trying to save face for her daughter that had passed away. But you got to think that if the mom said it, then it's got to be somewhat true, especially with such a young girl. I wouldn't let Junior, by himself, even go down the block. So I can't imagine that a 17-year-old or 14-year-old, whatever you said, just walking around, going on tour buses with adults and older men. I don't think I would let that fly.
No, yeah, it is propelling. So, but speaking of like, when you're that age, you gotta defend yourself. You want to tell your kids to defend yourself. You mentioned to me that you send up Junior to taekwondo.
Yeah, taekwondo.
And
taekwondo.
So I'm imagining you want Junior to, when he walks down the street, to be a badass and just be messing up kids with like roundhouse kicks or something.
Hell yeah, doing that roundhouse or what is that crane kick from Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi, the crane kick, or I would figure you would take more of a Chuck Norris roundhouse kick type of deal.
Hell yeah. But yeah, we signed him up, and he was kind of hesitant. Even when he was kind of younger, maybe like 3 years ago, I tried to convince him to do jujitsu. It was back during my UFC phase when I was really watching a lot of UFC, and I'm like, man, if Junior could get into this kind of young, maybe he could find a career in this, or at least find it as a good discipline for exercising, and then just a way to kind of stay fit, kind of keep his mind good, learn some discipline. And I thought it would be a good fit for him, but I could never convince him. I think he was always afraid of somebody hitting him in the face or breaking his nose. At least that's what I would imagine that was the thing kind of holding him back. But as Taekwondo kind of approached us, it was through my brother-in-law, Nick. He's the one that his son is currently enrolled in Taekwondo, and he kept telling Junior about it. Like, yeah, we learned these kicks and this and that. And we found out that your first class, if you walk in, it's free. So you can come in and sit in on a class, participate, get a feel for it, and see if you really dig it. And if you do, then you can sign up and come for more classes. But yeah, we went for that free first class, and that really spoke to me, the free part. So I was like, for sure, I'm gonna come down there
You're like
for
gonna
a
put
free.
every week put mustaches and change
Yeah,
his hair color to get the free training, the 1 day
right.
training.
Get the little disguises going. But he was really hyped for it, man. The day that we're like, oh, we're gonna go on. I forget what day it was. I think it was a Thursday. He was really excited the whole week coming up, and then Thursday comes, and we're sitting there, and he's like, "Oh, Daddy, I don't see anybody else new. Everybody else had gis on, or their whatever their gear was for working out." And so he's just like, I don't want to be the only new kid. And I'm like, well, buddy, not every day you're going to see people coming off the street like, hey, I heard you're giving out free classes. I want to go hang out with you guys. So it's not going to happen every day. So you're going to be the only new kid today. I'm like, don't worry about it. And so he was kind of worried. So the class hadn't started yet. So I went to go talk to the sensei or the coach or whoever it was that was teaching the class. And I'm like, hey, this is our first time here. My son here, he's never done anything like this. Is there anything that I need to tell him to worry about? And he's just like, no, don't worry about it. I'll keep him close to me. And he's just like, don't worry, he'll do fine. And in that, he gets kind of closer to Junior, and he's just like, don't worry, bud. He's like, you're gonna hang next to me. I'm gonna show you all the ropes, and before you know it, we're gonna be doing hip flips to your parents or something. He said something kind of funny, and so Junior kind of chuckled a little bit. A few minutes passed, and while we're sitting down waiting, Junior again, he's just like, Daddy, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I'm like, buddy, we came all the way down here for you, man. I like, try the free class and check it out, man. So after some talking, we could not convince him. And I figured, I'm like, well, I guess we're just going to have to leave. So we were just waiting for a good opportunity to kind of get up and kind of sneak out without people looking at us and kind of bring attention to us.
Right.
And as that's happening, the coach is like, all right, let's start up, guys. Everybody to the center here. And he's like, where's my new guy? And he like looks around and finally, locks eyes with Junior. He's like, Daniel, come on over here. Come to the mat so you can come in. Just bow before you walk in. And then Junior's kind of like shaking his head kind of lightly, like, no. and finally the guy comes closer and comes kind of right into Junior's face. And then he's just like, bow to your sensei. No, but that would have been funny.
Bow to your sensei.
Bow to your
roundhouse
sensei.
kick.
Right. That would have been funny. But no, he came up to Junior's face and then he's like, all right, bud, don't worry about it. Just come up to the thing and just do like I'm doing. Bow. And so at that moment, I think Junior said it'll be less embarrassing for me to go up there and do what this guy is saying rather than making a scene and kind of just like running away in terror. So he got up there, he bowed. Long story short, he did his whole class and he really enjoyed it, man. So we signed him up and he's part of the taekwondo family now and doing that training now for a week now.
What did the sensei ask him to do? Like I'm thinking like Napoleon, like bow to your sensei, Rex Kwando, and all this shit, and like, you see that woman right there? I got it because I invented my own system and all that crap. I'm imagining a guy like that.
He wasn't that over the top, but he was maybe in his late 20s, early 30s. He seemed kind of like one of those fun dad kind of guys where he seems really friendly, makes everything kind of like a little bit of a joke. But at the same time, he's trying to teach you technique and trying to make sure that you're engaged in the class, but at the same time making it fun. So I think Junior really gravitated to that it's not going to be serious, like, no, get your posture, sit up, straighten up, kind of thing where he's constantly yelling at you and putting you in chokeholds when you don't win tournaments.
You're thinking Karate Kid too,
right?
Sensei. Some old man comes out and some old Asian guy comes and fucks you up.
Right, right. I
Well,
think
is it Sensei an Asian guy or what is he?
no, I mean, looked American. I don't know what kind of nationality he was, but he was just some white guy, and the owner of the taekwondo company, or at least that building, because I think they got a couple locations. He's also white, but his picture was up there with a bunch of Asian gentlemen, and so it looks like he got training, and he was older himself. He's probably in his 60s, 70s.
Was
So
Elvis one of those pictures?
to be honest, it might be, man, because there's so many pictures on the walls of him like traveling the world and training with all these people. It might be up there. I didn't look
What
at all
about
of them.
Steven Seagal or Bruce Lee?
Right, man. I don't know. He might be friends with Chuck Norris for all I know. I'm not really sure.
Man, if you would have told me like Chuck Norris or Seagal were up there, I'd be like, damn, this motherfucker's for real.
Right. So we'll see how long it goes. So far, he's really excited. Yeah, he's had a couple of good classes where he gets a good sweat on, man. They start doing jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups. They run in place, practice their kicks, their punches, some self-defense moves. So he's really taken to it, and I'm glad, man. I'm glad he's got an outlet to kind of get some cardio in, do some exercising. Even though he's not a fat kid, he's on the skinnier side, to be honest. But it's still good.
Fat kid. What's going on here, Danny?
That's why I said he's not a fat kid, but or a plus size, or what was it? Yeah.
Yeah, he's plump.
Right. But no, he's it's good for him to have something like that, to have a hobby. We'll see how long it lasts, or we'll see how long the money lasts, because I know these classes could get expensive, and it sounds like they might be nickel and diming us for all the extra equipment and the next belt and the testing and the tournament and the whatever else I'm not aware of right now, because
He needs those karate shoes, man. They saw at the Asian store.
right when it splits your toe or you put your big toe
There
in.
you go, man.
Yeah,
Me and my
one.
cousin Oscar used to go buy those shoes. They suck, by the way.
Yeah, they're kind of like Chuck Taylors, where you kind of feel everything in the ground because it doesn't really have a sole. So I used to wear those too when I was a kid. We went to the karate store, and my dad was like, "How much for these dumb shoes?" And I forgot where he got them eventually, but he did buy us a pair for me and Noel, or me and Saul, because we were the ones that wanted to wear karate shoes and
But he did
practice
buy
like we were ninjas. Yeah, I recall him buying it. So we did have them when we were kids, but I remember distinctly when we went to that karate store, and of course, when you go to any of those like mom and pop karate stores, they're gonna gouge you pretty nasty. So I don't remember how much it was, but I do remember the look in my dad's face, like, "How much for these dumb shoes? Nah, come on, let's get the hell out of here." So,
You're like, and I need the nunchucks.
right. But yeah. So far so good, man. But Junior's not the only one that got something cool, man. I got me my new iPhone XR, man, for Christmas. Alana finally broke me down because my phone had been giving me some problems for a while now. It's about a year dealing with some touch issues, and sometimes the screen would not be responsive, and
Wow.
the charge would be terrible, man. I have to be one of those wall huggers everywhere I went. I'm plugging in and charging. But I was trying to hold off, man, because I know iPhone was replacing batteries for like $20 for the old phones and whatnot. So I was kind of holding off that hope that I'll just replace the battery and maybe that'll fix some of the problems. But as the screen issues persisted, I'm like, screw it. And she kind of just like, come on, let's go. We'll get it for you for Christmas.
Yeah,
So,
I've never had screen issues with the iPhone. I've had every iPhone I've had, I had where once you get over 2 years, the batteries wouldn't charge. If you used it a lot, the battery would get drained immediately.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I either dropped it once too many times, which I didn't drop it that often, and I have had a pretty good case on it. But I don't know if in a drop, the screen got kind of loose inside and maybe something was not making contact all the way. Or I also have one of those like a little tablet with a keyboard, and the keyboard is a magnet. And sometimes I used to lay my phone on top of it, and it got me thinking. I don't know if that magnet that's used to clip the tablet to the keyboard, if that somehow maybe messes up the phone too. It got me thinking. So I'm not really sure what was causing the issues, but the screen more and more was getting unresponsive, where I had to literally turn it off and on before it would start working again. So yeah, I got an XR. I'm digging it, but I do miss my button. There's no more home button. So that's probably the biggest complaint I got, just getting used to not having a home button. But it's a nice phone. It fits nice in the hand, pretty nice size. So I'm happy my wife finally convinced me to go get one.
So you just traded in your old phone, whatever they gave you.
Yeah, I traded it in. They supposedly were going to give me $80. I sent it into T-Mobile because they have to evaluate it or do whatever they got to do. And I still haven't seen that credit, so I'm not sure if they approved the $80 that they were estimating when I went to go get the new phone. So we'll see. I have to give T-Mobile a call and see where the hell's my money.
The CEO is too busy buying food to cook on Facebook on Sundays or something.
Right.
Shit.
Yeah, I think it's on Thursday, slow cooker Thursday or some shit.
He fucking does, goofy guy.
Right. But yeah, man, got me my new iPhone, and actually went out to Gurney Mills, man. Did some walking because we had another problem with Alana's iPhone. Her screen cracked a few days ago.
Uh-oh.
And I know she dropped it on the way out of the car. She had it on her lap, and I think she forgot that she had it on her lap, and it kind of flipped over, and of course it fell like perfectly on the front face of it. And when she picked it up, there was a little bit of a crack on it. And then as she was walking out of the garage, Junior trips over the shovel that I got in the corner, and then the shovel handle hits it too. So then they gave it a nice little another nice little crack to go along with that first one. So yeah, we Gurney Mills, apparently that Best Buy is one of the only ones in the area by us that repair screens, and she wanted to get it repaired through Best Buy because she's like, I don't want to deal with these Joe Schmoes on the street, and then I have issues, and then it's not working. He's like, let's just go to Best Buy and get it fixed.
Yeah, the Russians will fix it for like $40, man.
Right. That's what I told her, but no, she's like, no, let's go somewhere irreparable so that if there are any issues, we can take it back and try to get it fixed. So yeah, we had to take a trip to Gurney Mills, man. It was a little bit of a road trip. You know, it's by for people that are not in the area, it's by Gurney, Illinois, and I live more close, like I mentioned, to Oak Park, so there's a little bit of a drive for us. There's also Six Flags in the area, and then the Best Buy is really near Gurney Mills, which I figured we can go there while we're waiting for the phone to get repaired. And I forgot how big that mall is. I mean, it's not a Mall of America from Minnesota, but man, it's definitely a big mall.
It's been years since I've been there. They didn't have a lot of store closings, or do they still have? Is the mall pretty full?
Yeah, I mean, we went on a Saturday morning, you know, kind of like 11ish, and it was busy and buzzing. There was a lot of people walking in and out, spending money. So it looks like they're doing good, and we had a good little walk, man. A good little walk. Went into a couple stores, just kind of window shopping, and I think we had a little bite to eat, and then before you knew it, it was time to head out. But something that I noticed, Andy, while we were in there was one of these escape room joints inside there. It was like I forget what the name of it was, and it kind of had a theme, not like Saw, like the movies, where you know you're gonna have to chop your leg off to escape. But it did have kind of that like feeling like if you don't solve this, you'll be stuck in here forever. And speaking of escape rooms, that is our article of the week. Because in Poland, there's a man that got charged for an escape room problem that caused a fire, and a couple girls, 5 of them, I believe, died in the fire. So the owner or whoever was running the establishment was charged with not voluntary manslaughter, but the one where negligence, like you let it persist, this problem. I guess they were having a problem with the heater or some kind of issue, some electrical issue or something.
They charged them with 2 things, and again, this is in Europe, Poland. The first charge was intentionally creating a fire danger, and then unintentionally causing the death of the girls. So he got charged with 2 of those things.
Right. Yeah, and then like I mentioned, the heating systems were faulty. That there was no emergency evacuation routes. There was no way to open the doors if there were to be an emergency. So these poor girls, they died of carbon monoxide inhalation. And now this guy might be facing, up to 8 years in prison if he's convicted. So like I mentioned, I saw it at the Gurney Mill malls, and I've seen them advertised here and there, especially like on Groupon, the coupon site.
Right.
So it was something that actually kind of piqued my interest. I've always kind of been fond of the Saw movies and kind of these like these puzzles. I've always liked like brain teasers and kind of like being faced with this issue and you got to work quickly to solve it. And I always thought that was a good premise. Even though some of the Saw movies got kind of gross and kind of over the top, the first ones were kind of good. And it was, something where like, would you do this to solve this problem?
So, yeah, real quick, for people who don't know, escape rooms are, I guess you're being challenged. You have to find clues to find the key to open the door to escape.
Right.
So players in the escape room games are locked inside a room or building and must solve puzzles and find clues that lead them to the key that unlock the door. It's regarded as an intellectual challenge, and the games are highly popular among teenagers in Poland. And I'm starting to see it here, like you said, here in the States too. I don't know, Gurney had it. But to me, I really don't get it. I don't think I would want to do it.
No. I think it's kind of fun to challenge yourself intellectually. I mean, kind of like these corn mazes during Halloween and during that time during the fall, right, when they have these corn mazes and they have questions at the like junctions or like at forks in the road. Mm-hmm. And depending on if you answer Abraham Lincoln, take a left. If you answer Ben Franklin, take a right. And depending on your intelligence or what you're able to deduce from the question, you might be going in the right path or you might be going in the wrong path. And I've always found those to be kind of fun. And it's the same premise here, like you said. You're locked in a room and there's a couple puzzles, and you have to figure them out so that you can get out. And most of these escape rooms, they have a time limit, so you have to try to figure it out within this time limit. And to be honest, now it kind of recalls my memory. We did one of these, not an escape room, but it was in Wisconsin Dells. They also had typical escape rooms, kind of like what we're alluding to here in the article, but the one that we did was more of like a wizard quest where you're faced with like a questionnaire and you got an hour to capture the wizard, so you have to answer these questions. And it was kind of hokey. It was more for Junior. It was something that he wanted to do. He was really into Harry Potter that year. So well, I only say that year because he's not really into Harry Potter anymore. So at that time, he was really digging it. So when he saw, wizards, and we can capture this and do spells, and he really dug it. So we went to try it, and that one was a little harder for me, at least, because it uses a lot of those terminologies, or they try to keep it in the theme of that, and I wasn't following along. I couldn't figure them out, so I blame it on the puzzle rather than my intelligence.
So if you were to do, let's say, an adult one, Danny, which theme would you want it to be, where you're like what kind of a challenge do you want it? Like a horror type of thing, or do you just like? Now, the only other one I've experienced, or not experienced, but I've seen on Conan O'Brien, they kind of make fun of it. They go, but it's like a speakeasy type of deal. It's like in the 30s or something.
Right,
Apparently,
right.
there's many themes, and like none of that stuff interests me. But if you do it, would you want it with a particular theme?
I'm thinking it would have to be some kind of suspenseful atmosphere, something where there's a bomb and it's going to go off if you don't get out of this room. There's gas that's going to be emitted if you don't finish it in time. Something like where if you don't do this in this set amount of time, there's going to be something bad that happens. Just to create the suspense, to create the atmosphere of that you got to work quickly. You can't really just lollygag about it and just kind of like slowly go at a snail's pace. You got to go fast if you want to be able to solve this in time and get out before whatever disaster is going to happen.
If you go with your wife, are you gonna sacrifice her? Like, hey, you don't know, just move. Like, just go sit over there. Or are you gonna just do the teamwork thing?
I mean, if it comes between me failing a puzzle, I might have to just throw to the wolves while I run.
You're like, beat it, woman. I need to solve this.
Right, right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what kind of theme? Because I don't. Would Alana be something into? Is she be into something like that?
Yeah, she actually got once she saw that I kind of gave up on the wizard one. She's the one that kind of pressed on, like, hey, we got to try to figure this out. We just paid $10 a ticket to get in here. Let's figure this thing out. And she got into it, man. She's like, yeah, when you mix fire and water, you get these ice crystals, and then you get this. And she was trying to figure out the puzzles and the riddles, and she really got into it. And I know we've kind of mentioned it, just me and her, as far as maybe like a date night, like going out for dinner, and then maybe doing something like this where, with it just being us two, we would have to find a bigger group so that it could be something like 2 or 3 couples, and you're kind of bouncing it off each other and kind of making fun of the situation, like, hey, Andy, man, how do you not know this? And and kind of that would be part of the atmosphere and part of the what makes it fun.
I've done the murder dinner ones. I don't know if you've heard of those.
Right.
So, yeah, I've done one of those, and I wasn't like. Some people really got into it, but they were like drunk because you could drink. But it was just, yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's not my cup of tea. But I would say I've done the murder dinner. It depends if I would go. It depends who's with me. And like I said, the escape room stuff, it just doesn't. It's not calling out to me. And I mean, yeah, it's just. I mean, I just don't like it. It's something I wouldn't want to do.
Right. The other thing is that I guess this thing is really popular in Europe, or at least in Poland, because the article makes mention that out of the 1,100 escape rooms that there are in the Poland area, 200 have been checked and 13 have been closed because of security issues, or safety issues. So I guess this is really popular in Europe. And like I mentioned, Andy, I saw them at the Dells the last time I was there. I think it was like 2 years ago. And then I saw it at Gurney Mills too. So I know it's popular. I know the Groupons every now and then have something on there. So I think it's a phase right now that people are really digging and really liking. I'm kind of surprised you're not really feeling it. Do you think your wife would?
She might be into it, but I don't know. I guess to me, I guess it depends on the theme. And then what if there's a reward at the end besides just opening a damn door? That's why I guess I got to know the intensity of it. But I was reading the comments here that people posted, or they call them reactions in the article. This guy wrote that where I live, the escape rooms are not actually locked, so people can leave at any time. So isn't that defeating the whole purpose why you're playing or doing that activity? Because you have to get you have to figure this out so you can leave. Apparently, some of them they're not even lying. You're just like, fuck this, I'm out of here, man. Give me my $10 back.
Right. I know when I was eating dinner earlier. Alana was just like, "What's going to be your talking thing today?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're talking about escape rooms." And I kind of went over the article a little bit, and she's just like, "Yeah, you would think that the door would be unlocked, and it's more of just the game that you got to get the key. But if at whatever moment you give up and you're like, look, we can't solve this thing, or hey, I got to take a shit, I got to get out of here, that you could open the door, that you could get out, and that I guess this guy,
ya me cago, man. Fuck
right,
this. Just pass. Just start trying to knock the door down. People like, hey, relax, it's open. Fuck you, man. I gotta go.
right, man. I mean, I know he was probably, this owner was probably trying to go for like a real atmosphere, but you would think there's got to be something like, yeah, you think there'd be like an emergency button or something to like release the door so you can get the hell out of there, or it just be unlocked, like you said, like, hey, you can leave at any time, but if you want to do the puzzle, these are the puzzles and the steps you got to go through to get the key.
Yeah, man. It I think for me to get intrigued, I need to know the theme, and then I need to know how intense it is. Like it's like the guy goes, once I lock you in, you're done, dude. You're gonna be in here for 1 hour, and like if you don't solve it, that's it. And I guess I really gotta be challenged and stimulated at the same time for me to do one of these escape rooms, because like I said, I haven't really heard of them until like this month, and then when you put that article, I was like, huh, this is interesting. And so
I mean, when we did the corn maze, we actually got lost in it. I guess I didn't know whether the answer was Benjamin Franklin or not, and we went down the wrong path, and we actually got lost inside of it, and we couldn't find our way out. We were stuck in there for maybe an extra 15 minutes more than we needed to. And it did create a little bit of panic, especially in Junior, because I kept hamming it up. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to be stuck in here forever. And he's like, no, Daddy, we got to get out of here, this and that. So it was something that did create suspense, and I don't know if he had such a good time. I still had a good time, even though we did, honestly, towards the end, I started getting a little nervous, like, shit, how the hell are we going to get out of here? Everywhere we're moving is a dead end.
Right.
So it was more, luckily there was music in the
cornfield.
Well, there was music in the by the entryway where you walk in there, because it was one of those a pumpkin patch places, so they were playing music in the background, and then the corn maze was part of the stuff that you could do there. So towards the end, I'm like, forget these questions, it's not working, or we're not picking the right answers.
So you're frustrated.
Yeah, so I got to the point where I'm like, I'm just gonna listen to the music and just walk towards the music, and it worked. We started walking, and because at first you try to go by memory. You try to go like, I kind of remember this path, and I remember this, this patch on the floor, and I kind of remember a couple corn stalks bent this way. But then once you just keep walking and walking, and you can't find anything, you're just like, what the hell? How do you get out of here? And I'm like, screw this. I'm just listening for the music and just walking towards the music, and eventually we'll find the exit.
You see the same people like you just lost walking around in the cornfield, right?
Right. I mean, this was a pretty big corn maze, so it's probably not something Junior's going to want to do anytime soon.
But Junior, did he enjoy the Harry Potter escape room or no?
Yeah, I think he did. But he was really enjoying the water park we were at. So as soon as he saw it was taking a long time, we were there for maybe 40 minutes already. And once we couldn't solve the third or fourth puzzle, I was just like, the hell with this shit. Let's go back to the water park. And I think Junior was with me.
But speaking of enjoying, we hope you enjoy this episode, because we got to get out of here. And again, we want to thank you all for listening. Remember, you can follow Freeform Network on Facebook and Twitter under Freeform Network. You can send your suggestions and questions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. Let us know your New Year resolutions, any escape room crap that y'all been through. If you got the new iPhones, let us know. And don't forget to check out our webpage, freeformnetwork.podbean.com. there. We're on everything, every freaking application you can think of. YouTube. We like the numbers we've seen on YouTube. Thank you guys for checking it out. Don't forget to subscribe on any platform. Like, hit us, give us a comment. We're on Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean, Google. I mean, we're on everything, man. I can't even keep up with it no more. But the links are all on the website. So, give us a subscribe and give us a like. Again, this is Freeform Radio. We have Danny.
Yes, sir. Had a good time, man. Glad to be back for the new year. Sorry I missed last week's episode, but we'll get back on a roll here the new year.
And Escape Room Andy is going to try to escape this podcast and go have some dinner. So we'll check you out next time, guys, and have a good week.
That was cool, Dad.